Reading, a journey to discover life's wisdom. Honoré de Balzac's Old Goriot. Introduction. Why do we need to read? Dear readers, perhaps some of you reading this may be thinking, I don't know why I should read books, books are boring and difficult, or I'm too busy, how can I find time to read? After graduating from school, many people drift away from books, and many feel that they have little time to listen to stories of other worlds amid the urgency of daily life. However, I would like to show you today how reading just one book can broaden our perspective on life and the world, and how reading is not a dull or difficult task, but rather an exciting exploration of life. The book we will discuss today is Old Goriot, written by the great French literary giant Honoré de Balzac. This novel captures the raw realities of 19th-century French society and is more than just an old tale. It is a mirror reflecting surprisingly vividly the conflicts, desires, and diverse aspects of human nature in our own time. Let's explore together the content of this novel and the deep questions it raises for us. 1. Old Goriot, a scene from the human comedy of 19th century Paris. Old Goriot holds a particularly significant place within Balzac's vast series of works known as La Comédie Humaine, the human comedy. Set in the tumultuous Paris of early 19th century after the end of the Napoleonic era and the restoration of the monarchy, it powerfully portrays a tangled mass of human characters shaped by money, reputation, and desire. Main characters. Old Goriot, Le Père Goriot, a former self-made businessman who earned a fortune through noodles. He sacrifices his entire fortune to marry his two daughters into noble families and hopes they will be happy. However, he is ultimately abandoned by his daughters and meets a tragic end. His pure and blind paternal love is both noble and deeply tragic. Eugène de Rastignac, a young law student from a poor provincial aristocratic background. He comes to Paris with dreams of success and strives to enter the aristocratic society. Caught between pure ideals and the harsh realities of life, he faces a crucial decision, whether to assimilate into a corrupt society or to preserve his moral integrity. Through Rastignac's eyes, this novel explores both the upper echelons of Parisian society and the struggles of the lower classes. Vautrin, a mysterious figure residing in the boarding house in Paris. Though rough, he possesses sharp insight and attempts to teach Rastignac the essence of society and the ruthless methods of achieving success. His cynicism reflects the dark side of French society at that time. Old Goriot's two daughters, Anastasie de Ristad and Delphine de Nucingen, they squander their father's possessions for their own advancement and vanity and ultimately completely abandon their father. They symbolize the materialism and hypocrisy of the French aristocracy. Plot summary. The novel is set mainly in the boarding house of Madame Vauquelin in Paris's Latin Quarter. This boarding house is home to various characters, including the ambitious young provincial Rastignac, the enigmatic criminal Vautrin, and Old Goriot, who has sacrificed everything for his daughters and now lives in poverty. Rastignac enters Parisian high society through his cousin Madame de Beauzant. Fascinated by the dazzling and seductive world of aristocracy, he yearns for success and prestige. However, he soon realizes that beneath this glittering surface lies a cold, ruthless world driven by money, power, and vanity. Vautrin advises him, in this world, there are only two paths. One is to live like a lamb, giving up everything, and the other is to survive like a wolf, devouring others. Vautrin tempts Rastignac to pursue success through any means necessary. Meanwhile, Old Goriot gives away his life savings, including his last remaining silverware and his pension, to marry his two daughters, Anastasie and Delphine, into noble families. However, his daughters constantly demand more money and publicly shame their father, avoiding society when he is present. Despite this, Old Goriot persistently offers unconditional love for his daughters' happiness. Rastignac experiences deep inner turmoil upon witnessing Old Goriot's tragic love and his daughter's cruel ingratitude. He enters a relationship with Delphine to further his ambitions through her, while simultaneously wrestling with his conscience over Old Goriot's suffering. Ultimately, Old Goriot dies in solitude, ignored by his daughters, whose coldness embodies the extreme materialism and loss of humanity. At Old Goriot's humble funeral, Rastignac gazes down at Paris and shouts, "Now, let's see who wins." This moment marks Rastignac's decision to abandon his innocent idealism and commit to surviving in a harsh reality. It is also a declaration of challenge toward the vast society of Paris. 2. The implications of Old Goriot. Timeless questions across generations. You might wonder what a 19th-century French novel could possibly mean for us today. Surprisingly, Old Goriot provides deep insight into human nature and the essence of society, transcending time. Let's now explore together some of the questions this novel raises for us. A. The tyranny of money and the loss of humanity. Everything is money. In the world of Old Goriot, money is not merely a medium of exchange, it is an absolute force governing power, honor, love, and even human relationships. Old Goriot's daughters only seek their father's presence when his money is necessary for their aristocratic lifestyles. Once his money runs out, they feel ashamed of him and completely abandon him. Rastignac also comes to understand that wealth is essential for success and begins constantly pursuing it. What about our society today? Although we claim that money is not everything, many of us are enslaved by it. The dazzling lives shown on social media, the consumption of luxury goods, the real estate boom, these have become outward markers of success. People believe that without money, they are not even treated as human beings. Conflicts arise among family members because of money, friendships break, and lives lose direction, all not unlike the stories in Old Goriot. This novel urges a cold reflection on the power of money and the tragic loss of human values. Are we truly free from money? Is money the only criterion for our happiness? B. The nobility and tragedy of maternal love, and the essence of family relationships. Old Goriot's paternal love is the most poignant core of this novel. He gives everything to his daughters without reservation, but this love is ultimately trampled by their heartlessness. His blind love not only fails to make his daughters happy but also leads them deeper into desires and eventually destroys himself. This is both a noble sentiment, like the saying a parent's love is boundless, and a lesson that love taken too far turns into poison. What about our family relationships? Parents give unconditional love and dedication to their children, yet children often take this love for granted or exploit it. We witness through the media countless tragedies within families, conflicts between parents and children, marital discord, and sibling disputes over property. Old Goriot prompts us deeply to consider how love, sacrifice, and responsibility should exist in balance within our most fundamental unit of life, the family. What value should we truly cherish? C. Ambition towards success and moral compromise. Rastignac is the most complex character in the novel. Initially, he comes to Paris with pure ideals and a sense of justice, but he gradually changes as he experiences the glittering yet cold world of aristocracy. Torn between Vautrin's temptations and Madame de Buisson's pragmatic advice, he deeply wrestles with which path to take. Is it possible to maintain purity and achieve success in a corrupt and ugly world? Or is a certain degree of moral compromise and sacrifice inevitable to succeed? These questions remain valid today. We dream of success in a fiercely competitive society, excellent universities, desirable jobs, high salaries, social status. But how many temptations and compromises do we face along the way? Is it possible to achieve success through honest effort? Or must we sometimes close our eyes and make compromises with injustice to gain an opportunity? Through Rastignac's struggles, Old Goriot vividly reveals how intense human ambition toward success is and the depth of moral conflict individuals experience. The novel raises fundamental questions for us. What is success? What kind of success is truly valuable? D. Society as a jungle and the truth of human nature. Vautrin describes society as a jungle where wolves fight wolves. His cynical view reveals that in a world governed solely by the law of the jungle, one must either become a wolf or be devoured by one. This perspective dramatically uncovers the dark side of 19th-century Parisian society. Through this novel, Balzac illustrates that humans are essentially selfish and may do anything to satisfy their desires. This insight remains just as relevant today. We constantly witness the dark side of human nature through the news: corruption among the powerful, abuse of power by corporations, exploitation of the socially disadvantaged. Is society truly fair and just? Or is it still a jungle where the strong dominate the weak? Through the dual nature of human beings, old Goriot's noble love, his daughter's cruel selfishness, and Rastignac's inner conflict, old Goriot helps us achieve a deeper understanding of both ourselves and society. 3. Reading: the easiest way to enrich your life. What did you think of Old Goriot, which you may have previously considered a difficult literary work or an unappealing book? Perhaps you were surprised to find that the story of 19th-century Paris is not so different from the events happening around us today. Reading is not merely the accumulation of knowledge. It is a window through which we can see the diverse aspects of the world we may have yet to understand. By indirectly experiencing the lives of characters in novels, we can learn to understand and empathize with the emotions of others. Reflecting on Rastignac's inner turmoil allows us to consider our own choices, and through the tragedy of Old Goriot, we come to value the importance of family. We can also gain a critical perspective on the world through Vautrin's sharp observations. Old Goriot provides the wisdom and insight we need to understand this complex world we live in. The universal struggles of humans, money, success, family, love, betrayal, are all fully encapsulated in this single book. Reading a book is ultimately a process of discovering oneself and understanding the world more deeply. Knowledge and cultural refinement are not difficult to acquire. They are naturally cultivated as we enrich our lives and find deeper meaning. Reading is one of the simplest and most powerful tools in this journey. I sincerely hope this article has sparked your interest in the book Old Goriot, and that you will take up the book yourself and embark on a journey to uncover life's wisdom. Your life could completely change from just one book. Old Goriot could be the beginning of that journey.